Hello. How are we doing? So yeah, this is actually the first episode of Tasteful Moustache. Hang on, let's lift that up. First episode of Tasteful Moustache on the Tasteful Moustache page. That's good, right? So let me just pull up my topics right here. It's nice to have some structure. I mean, loose dialogue's good and all, but hang on, I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Loose dialogue's good and all, but at the same time, structure's good. Apparently the stream isn't holding it too well. That sucks. 61% of dropped frames. Well, let's just hope that the audio is decent. But anyway, podcast. How's everyone's Monday doing? It's who even likes Mondays. So anyway, yeah, a brief catch up. Over the past week, I've just been doing a lot of stuff. I've had two job interviews. Would help if I could English well. So I had two job interviews. And just really sorting out a lot of stuff related to my future. So also a lot of changes to the channel as well. Channels, should I say. Because the podcast is now set up. It's going to be on iTunes as soon as this episode finishes. I just remembered why this isn't working very well. Hang on, let's sort this out. Yeah, let's cancel that. Okay, so there you go. That should be a hell of a lot better. So shortly after this episode's done, the first episode will be on iTunes and the Google Play Store, which is why this has been atrocious quality so far, is because, yeah, a lot of my bandwidth has been being used up to upload it. I was meant to cancel it before I started to stream, but too late for that now. But YouTube changes, because the main place I actually produce content, as the majority of you guys will know, is YouTube, where that's where like my scripted, sort of well thought out, just okay content. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's okay content. But yeah, I've been uploading there because I've been sorting all this out, and to be honest, it's just been a lot of stuff related to my future at the minute. But hopefully that should change in the future. As soon as things settle down, I can be a lot more, I don't know, frequent, I guess that's what, consistent. You get where I'm coming from. But yeah, anyway, but there are just, change is just like a theme that just needs to be expressed. There's so much change going on. Whether it's New Year, whether it's just day to day, whether it's changing your hair, whether it's changing your toothbrush, whether it's changing your meals, it's a whole matter of things. They can be little changes, they can be small changes, but they can still have drastic effects on your life. So, just in general, like, I think we can all agree that the world's changing. Now, whether that's for better or for worse, I guess only time will tell. But unfortunately, it's just one of them things that we just have to sort of wait for. You just have to sort of sit and just let it take its time, which is good to an extent, but definitely more control would be good. But change is inevitable, and there's no point trying to stop it if it's in place, because who knows, it could be for the better. And again, it could be for the worst, but we're not pessimists over here, But anyway, so just everything. Gaming's changing, for example. So of course that was the smoothest segue I've ever had on this fucking podcast. Jesus Christ. But yeah, just the gaming field in general is changing, and I know this is like the millionth time that we've gone into like loot boxes and stuff on this podcast, so we're not going to delve too deep, but just the whole gaming formula is changing. So it's all about open world now, which, like, if a game is an open world, it's it's generally sort of looked down upon. It's not looked down upon. People don't like to admit that it's looked down upon, but would you rather have a 3D roaming game or a platformer. In all honesty, like roaming open world games generally have more playability, and just on the whole they succeed better. Now normally if a game's open world, it generally means that they have a lot of funding behind it, because it's expensive to make a 3D world. But on the other hand, platformers are relatively easy to make. Hell, I could probably go onto Scratch and whip up a easy but shit platformer, but you see where I'm coming from. So it's more what's associated with it. So it's not the fact that the majority of platformers are indie games and the majority of indie games are platformers, but it's more that what you associate with it. So you associate a platform with being lower budget than a 3D open world, which generally shows that games are better quality if they've got a higher budget. Now, I would agree to that to a certain extent. So you have games like Undertale. Well, let's be honest, the budget for Undertale was probably a hell of a lot less than... I'm trying to think of something other than Battlefront 2. We need another punching bag. No Man's Sky. There we go. So Undertale, a lot less funding, a lot cheaper to buy as well. No Man's Sky was the game that we was all promised, but we never truly got. Well, we have now, but whatever. But you see where I'm coming from. So Undertale has a better story. It's generally just a better game. Now, No Man's Sky, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. But you never would have guessed that. And that's why Undertale was also so big in comparison to other indie games, was because it was cheap, it was low budget, but it really hit you, like it worked, it just goes to show that like good game design does still exist, and hell, it's it's right there, it's been there all along. But see, it just is changing, and people don't like to admit it, but they subconsciously agree with it. Now, I'm the same. Like, I would much rather, for example, get a new AAA game than some indie game, even if the indie game's amazing. I mean, of course, over the past few years, that's changed because indie games are getting more sort of exposure, and they're more viable in terms of people want to buy them more. I'm going to move this because I feel like it's kind of fucking up the connection that we got going here. Try and sort this out at least a little bit better. Hold up, let me try. No, I can't be fucked. That should be alright. But as I was saying, so everything's changing, movies included. Yet we just segued straight from a deep conversation about games into a deep conversation about movies. But Slender, for example, that's one of the latest trailers I've seen. I mean, it would have been really good in 2017 when Slender Man was all the hype, but I mean, come on, it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't seem right to make a Slender movie at this point. Not only does it sort of stray away from not only the source material, but what the fans have sort of come up with, because Slender Man's a very community driven sort of character. Let's dive a little bit into that. So hi Master Saint 911. I'm just gonna say 911. 911. That got really bad. How's it going, my dude? But as I was saying, so Slender Man is a character. Of course, it started off, the dude won a Photoshop challenge. Basically, he went in the past, sort of added Slender Man to different pictures, and then they made a fan-made game. But this movie, it just screams pandering and stereotyping as well. It just looks like your stereotypical horror movie, but it just looks so shit. Like, where's the hearty filmmaking? I do understand that some films do have that sort of, they have it still going for them, but at the same time, no, I don't know. Like, there are some films that like really come from the creation. I don't know how to word it, but like they have a lot of sort of like love put and care put into them and thought as well, rather than being churned up pieces of shit, which is what the majority of movies are these days. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some movies that are really good. For example, last year we had some pretty good movies. We had Get Out, that was amazing. Would definitely recommend that. But that's what I'm saying, is it's still present, but at the same time, it's not as... you see where I'm coming from though. There's so many more churned up movies made for the sake of money in comparison to people that envied movie, like they wanted to make something special. Now this isn't of course the same for all movie studios, but it's just a fact that I think we all sort of need to sort of comprehend. Like, let's just look at it, for example. In the past couple of years, we've had Predator, two Predator fucking remakes, the Alien prequels, which were okay. They were still good movies, but let's be honest, they still are sort of cash grabs. But so they've been about. You've also had, what other remakes have we had? We've had a shit ton of remakes. You've had Fright Night, The Thing, but that's besides the point. Some of them remakes are okay. That they're watchable. But when it comes to stuff like, I can't even remember the name of that fucking movie, but it was made by Orion Films, which made RoboCop. I thought they actually went bust. I'm going to have to Google that. But they had a movie about, you might remember seeing the trailer, it got pretty big, of office workers stuck in an office and they had to kill the other officers to survive, other members in the office to survive. Which, it's an okay concept, but I don't know. It lacked originality, and I do understand that pretty much everything's been done, so it's hard to be original. But at least put some fucking effort in. I'm actually gonna go Google about Orion Films. Right, because I swear they went bust. They were founded in 1978. Yeah, RoboCop, Silence of the Lambs. Let's have a look. Oh, they got... Okay. Let's have a quick gander. Oh, okay. So it was founded in 1978, which was the original. And then they basically... Did they run out of money? Yeah, they reached bankruptcy and then reopened in 2013 to now. Okay, that's fair. But anyway, getting back to it. There's JJ. I remember watching a TED Talks where JJ Abrams went over the fact that anyone can make a movie. Now everyone pretty much has the technology to make their own movie, and anyone can go out and make their movie. Now he said this from the inspirational standpoint for young movie creators that aren't fully into the movie making world, sort of, like a whole, don't worry about funding, whatever, just go do it, make your movie, all that shit, which is good and all, don't get me wrong, but you have the other side of the coin, which the pessimist in me likes to see, and anyone can make a movie, but that doesn't say that everyone's going to make a great movie. So take that into perspective. You're going to get like fucking shit movies. You're gonna get your Sharknadoes. You're gonna get your just awful fucking movies. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of these movies, like I single out some movies. Some of them are okay. They're watchable. Maybe if you get completely fucking wasted, but that's besides the point. It's more just the bigger picture that I'm focused on. And I know I've been segueing really atrociously from topic to topic because we're getting into like deep conversations about set topics and then sort of completely ditching it for the next one. But the music industry as well, completely changing. I don't know, it just is everyone in suits creating things to appeal to the mass, whether it's been done before, and don't get me wrong, you know, it's a good business model. People do need to earn money, and they're earning money. Like, some of these movies just make so much money, and if it came from like an indie, you know, not well known director or filmmaker, whatever, it's not going to get the same attention that a Marvel movie is going to get. Realistically, it might have more diehard fans, but that's not going to change the numbers 90% of the time. But it's the same with music. I mean, technology really it really enables people to be able to produce their own stuff, release it online, and just get seen. The internet is such amazing exposure, and people do use it like for that, and some people really succeed at it. But every Tom, Dick and Harry, proper English phrase there, are making their own music, and whether that's a good thing, whether that's a bad thing, it's completely up to you. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that everyone having the ability to make films is bad. On the contrary, I think it's really cool that anyone can sort of just do their own thing, put their creative vision into action. I think that was really needed in the industry, and it's here, you know. And just society on the whole is changing. Like, just it baffles me. I mean, I'm not that old. I'm 18, so I haven't really been alive that long. Like, let's be honest, not much can really change within what, like, the 14 years I can probably remember well. But it just goes to show that even though I only sort of remember 14 years back, it's how different it is. Probably a little less than 14 years, but you catch my drift. So what's going to happen within the next 10 years? I mean, I know society's always under change. Like, you look back to the 90s culture, 80s culture, 70s culture, it changes drastically. But it really does make you wonder where things are going to be in, say, 20 years. I mean, technology exponentially grows each year. Like, those of you that say exponential, let's do this the right way around for you guys. So yeah, you'd start there, sort of go slow, and then just reach a peak. You know, it's exponentially growing. It started off like a slow growth, and then it just sort of skyrocketed. But what is it going to be next in terms of technology? Like, that's what really fascinates me about technology. It's just, what are we going to have in 20 years that's going to make us look back and laugh at the fact that, I don't know, I was streaming to Twitch or I was streaming to YouTube on the day that, I know, this new amazing platform was released. I think that's pretty crazy. So I'll be pretty much... So basically what we're saying then is that platform could be coming out any day minus a Saturday. I stream every every day minus Saturdays. Little shameless plug there. Yeah, also, I'm just going to take time to reiterate this. So this is the podcasts page. If you want to see me stream games or whatever, head on over to The Agitated Guy on Twitch or YouTube. Or both, if you're feeling generous. But this is mainly the podcast page, so if you just enjoy the podcasts and nothing else, be sure to follow. It'd be greatly appreciated. Or subscribe. I know I'm doing this on both YouTube and Twitch. And also, if you're on iTunes, be sure to head over if you want to see anything, and follow me on Instagram at The Agitated Guy, or follow the podcast on Instagram at Tasteful Moustache. Where even was I? I just sort of delved into a shameless promotion section. But here we go. I was there. So we were talking about the like a new platform being released. But the internet's even changing. Like, internet culture is completely different. Like, hell, can you remember when the troll face used to be a thing? Now it's just non-existent. I'm not just talking about memes, but I'm using memes as an example. Let's go back 5 years. No, let's go back 8 years to 2010, and just think at how big YouTube was. I probably would have been watching the podcasts or PewDiePie at that time. But actually, no, we'll go back to 2012 PewDiePie. But yeah, the platform was so much different. Like, everyone just used to use Facebook. BlackBerry Messenger used to be a thing. Let's just take that into account. Who even uses BBM now? Like, no one does. It just goes to show that the internet is just a constantly evolving platform. Along with Twitch. Twitch wasn't even heard of in 2012. Actually, what year was Twitch released? Actually, it might have been around 2012. I can't even remember. I haven't got a clue. Because I never really used to use Twitch. Oh, shit. I've just... Twitch. Let's just Google search that. Oh, 2011. Okay. But if we go back to the example we had before, which was 2010, then yeah, Twitch wouldn't have been a thing. But it's crazy, you know? Everything's just becoming so much more advanced, available as well, because that's a big thing. You got to think of the availability and connectability that the internet really does provide. Like 2010, if I started to do some email marketing, it'd be good, but it wouldn't be anywhere near as successful as if I'd done it in 2014. I mean, of course, email marketing isn't the greatest now because email isn't used as much, but you see where I'm coming from. It's just constantly evolving, and it's one of the things that people need to keep on top of if they want to succeed on the online medium. Now, you know, don't listen to me. I'm doing shit on online, but I think I have a rough idea of what's going on, and I just need to, we all just need to keep an eye on where stuff's evolving. I mean, YouTube's always going to be a big contender, but I don't know. The way that things are going, I think less content creators are going to be on there. Like, people are going to get deterred more. So I think chances are for the more dedicated people that are actually going to succeed, it's going to be easier for them to succeed. Instagram as well, I can only see that getting bigger. Twitter, I can see that dying, to be quite honest. I've never seen the appeal for Twitter. I think that anything... I don't know, maybe I'm just out of touch, but I don't see Twitter hanging around for too long. Facebook's always going to be a big contender just because they have the money. So if their platform gets old, sure, they'll revamp it within an instant. It's crazy how much revenue Zuckerberg probably gets, but we're not going to get too far into that. But even online media is changing things. For example, podcasts. Yeah, you got podcasts, just internet media in general. You had that whole thing about fake news. Now that could drastically change people's opinions on set subjects and really change people's views. So, for example, let's just say there's... I'm trying to think of another example. Let's just say there's a lottery ticket, okay? And a fake news website posts saying that there's a 1 in 10 chance of winning $1 million. Now, of course, this is completely, you know, I'm talking just concept-wise. This would never actually happen. But then people, like lots of people would buy into it. But if the odds are actually 1 in a million, you know, that's influenced people to make that decision based on something false they read online. Now, that's the basic sort of story I wanted to get from that, is that news, whether it's fake or not, is still going to be believed by people, you know, whether it's from credible sources or not, people are still going to, you know, believe it. Let's take it back again. Back in the day, Wikipedia, they told you never to use it because it's a because it's like a weak a weak source. Anyone can add stuff to it. I mean, of course, it's a hell of a lot more reliable now, but back then it wasn't, and people would still believe what they saw on it, even though they've been told that it was fake. So it's still happening, And fake news, I'm not gonna lie, Clickhole and The Onion, I mean, those are so like ironically fake that if you believed it, I'm sorry, but that's kind of on you. But either way, people are still going to believe it. There's still going to be a percentage that are going to take shit seriously. And that's just inevitable. Like, that's always going to be a thing. There's no way of changing that. Excuse me. But that's just how it works. And the one thing I really wanted to sort of drive home with this sort of segment is really, is this change good or is it bad? I mean, the change is inevitable, but I really want to sort of spark that communication, like the talk about it, because it does need to be expressed. As I've previously said, it does need to be talked about. Change is a massive thing. It is inevitable, but is it for the right or is it for the wrong? And wrapping it, going full circle, we're not sure if it's right or wrong. Okay? I mean, of course, sometimes you can see if it's going in the right direction or the wrong direction. Now, I'm sorry, this podcast has kind of turned into a bit of a ramble, but I feel like it does need to be talked about. And I think it's for the better, to be quite honest. Even though, like, a result of online media and just the internet in general is desensitization. Desensitization, to an extent, it's bad, but it is kind of good at the same time, if that makes sense. So, for example, I'm trying to think of good examples. I can't think of any examples at the minute for desensitization, but the majority of the time desensitization isn't good, but other times it's okay. Of course, like seeing people's like heads chopped off, of course that's bad desensitization, but it's not always bad desensitization. But you totally get, you see where I'm coming from? I hope you see where I'm coming from. But anyway, let's move on to the usual segment of questions from Insta. Now, normally I would have asked the question before the podcast. Normally my podcasts are on Sunday evening, but I had 2 hours sleep yesterday, so, you know, I kind of had to rest yesterday. But as I was saying, we normally do fan questions. I normally ask out on Instagram, so head on over to Instagram for them questions. I'll post it on both the Tasteful Moustache and Agitated Guy Instagram page. So normally I would do that like a few days before, you know, get some questions in and then, you know, ask them. But I only have 3, which were basically from last week, and people asked them too late. But you know, it will do. It's good. So, what was the last song you listened to? Last song I listened to. Well, I listened to what was it? Voodoo People by Prodigy. I'd say that was the last sort of song I listened to. It's actually quite weird because normally I'm more of a rock type guy. I guess Prodigy sort of goes into like the rock electronic kind of, if you're talking the Pendulum remix, but I'm not. But you see where I'm coming. I'm pretty versatile when it comes to music, but yeah. So that was the last song I listened to. I don't really know where I was going with that. Does Count Dankula exist in your country? Yes. He is a fearful foe. You just gotta stay out his way. Well, because there's actually, this is a little known fact, but there are several Count Dankulas in different countries. The British one, if you fuck with his tea, he will fuck with your veins. Oh, that's a quote and a half. How are you? That's very wholesome. I'm good, thank you. I'm quite chill. I'm content. Thank you. How are you? Let's spark this conversation throughout different podcasts. But yeah, let's go back to the notes for today. Right, so I've been briefly mentioning Instagram throughout this podcast. But so yeah, the podcast now has its own Instagram page, Tasteful Moustache. You should go check that out. I'm also just going to be posting general stuff like media and, you know, just media based generally. So I don't know, something to do with like Marvel or Star Wars or just movies in general, music in general, just everything, TV. So head on over to there. And I'd say the Agitated Guy is more my personal one. And shit, I just remembered that that's not even my Instagram name anymore. I should go back and change that. It's Jordan_Reed, READ. You know what? Let's throw that on the outro screen real quick. Let's add some text. Let's change the background color to black. There we go. Jordan_Reed. Turn that all the way up. Background color, yeah, black. Let's add an outline. Yeah, that's good. Wow, this looks beyond shit. But I think you get the gist. Just put that there. There we go, that'll do for now. It looks sloppy as shit, but I don't care at this point. But yeah, like I said, Jordan Reed is going to be more of my sort of personal channel, or personal account, I should say. So please be sure to follow both if you're feeling generous. Generous. I can't even fucking talk. I'm tired, man. I'm tired. But yes, please be sure to follow on Twitch. I just realized all this stream I've been referencing, saying that I'm on Twitch and YouTube. I'm also on another streaming site that I just completely forgot to mention. Stream Me. There we go. Let's see how we're doing. Do I have any viewers? Ha! Of course not. Hang on. Let's just check, see how the stream's actually doing. I mean, it's kind of a bad time to check to see how the stream's doing because I'm literally just wrapping up. Okay, apparently it's still called Portal 2 and Chill. That's not good. Let's head on over to YouTube. See how that's doing. We have a viewer on YouTube. How's it hanging, my dude? Go over to Twitch. Where are we at? Yeah, we're still doing what we're doing. We have someone watching, although I think that's me, to be quite honest. But anyway, as I said, I'm going to close up. This is only a short stream because I've got a lot of stuff to do today. But please be sure to follow me on Twitch. If you're watching on Twitch, follow me or subscribe on YouTube. I can't fucking talk, alright? If you're watching this on iTunes or Google Play, head on over to my online sources to keep updated with the podcast. And yeah, thank you for watching. I shall see you guys.